How are you?
Good.
You know, we were talking about how each of us has such a different background. I mean, we each are from such a different place that to me it's amazing when I kind of look around and think about where people have been and where they're at now. And you know, even, for myself being on the streets and now having a teen ministry or youth ministry. And then I looked at you, Lenny, and it cracked me up because I know a little bit about your background. Yeah. Not that you cracked me up. I know a little about your background. And I know that, like right now, I know that you are in Christian Academy, in the choir. You have well, I was going to say you have a really nice sports car, but it's wrecked, so yeah. I'll leave that alone. But, you know, all that kind of stuff I know about you, but I know also, I know that you love God, and I know all that kind of stuff, but I know that that wasn't always true for you. And so, you know, and like Karen, you don't know about Lenny's background at all, eh? Can you tell him, would it be okay to tell him a little bit about how we met and where you came from?
Yeah, well, I met Cherie, like, the first time I met her, I went down to Hope TV, but, like, when I met her, it was just like, you know, I was in a Project Patch program, and it was just a treatment facility where I was sent because I was doing really awful in life. I got into a lot of drugs when I turned 15 because my parents were divorced, and my mom was just never home. She was always at a business convention here or there because she worked for a university, so she was never home. So when I was 15, I just decided, you know, I'm going to live life my own way, you know, and that was doing drugs and being involved with all my friends and doing what they did. So I got into doing drugs and stuff, and before that I had been a captain of a football team and a basketball team in 8th grade and stuff like that. So life just was like a complete turnaround. And
did it happen? Was that a slow thing? I mean, you know, because I think about that. How does that happen all of a sudden, or was it just a slow? Well,
it was sort of a slow process. Growing up in a Hispanic family and stuff like that, you grow up in like neighborhoods where it's just like, it's an everyday thing, you know. People are doing it. I was young, really young when I started, you know, noticing what drugs were and stuff because it was normal, you know, to see that kind of stuff, to see kids down the street doing drugs and stuff like that and making drug deals. It was a normal thing to see growing up, you know.
Where did you grow up?
In Toppenish, Washington. And it was just normal to see that kind of stuff. And growing up with such a big family, I had a lot of respect. People respected our family, you know, a big family, a big Hispanic family. They're known, have a lot of businesses and stuff like that. So you're going to get respect from the Hispanic and, you know, other race people around. You know, your family lives there, so therefore you have respect. So I was respected by everyone. And I don't know, I just, you know, I knew where to get drugs, and I knew how to get mass quantity of drugs. And being 15 years old, I could be getting drugs that, you know, a big city person could be getting, and for half the price and selling it for my own price. So I was a 15-year-old kid running around with like $2,000 a week, a pager, a cell phone, and I had it all, you know. I thought I had it all.
Did your parents, what did your parents say when they saw $2,000 or a cell phone and pagers?
Well, I hid it pretty much. I kept everything pretty much hidden. And like one time, my mom found the lining of my bed lined with money. There was like $900. It was like something in there, and she found it.
I'm selling lemonade, Mom.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I told her I was working.
Stand.
I was working, Mom. I've been working, and that's what it was, you know. And just to show my friends that I could actually have so much money, and show their sisters, like I used to show their sisters, you know, they're all, Lenny, how much money do you got? And I was like, I bet you I got more than you. So I'd just pull out a wad of money that I had rolled up, you know, and just say, hey, look, and they're all, can we go out with you sometime? And I'd be like, yeah. So I'd take girls out and buy them everything, you know. I was living the life at 15 years old. I mean, I was going to homeschool because I couldn't go to public school because they didn't want me anymore.
They kicked you out?
Yeah, too much trouble. They don't want trouble like that in our schools. And I had family in that school, and they did, you know, I would give the drugs to them, and then they would give them to whoever needed them at schools and stuff like that. But my main focus was adults. I didn't mess with kids because it was small. I didn't want $20 from a kid or something like that. I wanted like $300. I wanted $1,000 from someone. I didn't mess around with the petty things.
Mm-hmm. And you know, as you talk, because you know, I know you as, you know, Christian, and I know you as this really cool And I can't imagine. Were you the same as far as the way you talked or your personality? Or I mean, were you harder? Were you?
My main focus was myself. I was really in touch with just myself. I was really quiet, moved around, did this. But the people I knew, you know, I got along with them, and you know, it was basically they respected me, they looked up to me, and I just had a role that I had to play, you know. I was a little hard sometimes, you know, just to get business taken care of, and there was sometimes that I just had to, you know, just be friendly and be nice. I've always been a nice people person, you know, but I sort of got charming. I was a charmer, you know. I could talk people because there was always times in my life that my family would say he's going to be like, because I didn't have a father in my life, so the men in my family would say he's going to be like me. He's gonna make money. He's a go-getter, you know. And I'd get that in my brain. Yeah, I am a go-getter. I'll do this. I'll do that. And you know, I'll do things right. I'll do things this way, you know. But then the main focus was hustler, go-getter. You know, that's my main focus. I'm going to make money. I'm going to make more money than anyone else and be young. That's what I loved about the whole thing. But it was like I was empty. I was empty. That was my daily routine, was to do
Every
that.
day.
And that was life. I mean, without it, I don't know what I would do. You know, I didn't have any drive to do anything else but to live the life, to be the man, you know, have money and live it up. But it just wasn't for me.
So what happened? You didn't just all of a sudden say,
well,
you know, this is too much money, I don't want to do it anymore.
I sort of got myself in a predicament. I got what's called a front from a guy, and it was a big front. I mean, it was a couple $1,000s, and I had to get that.
Okay, you know, I am from the streets, you know, because I was on the streets for 10 years, so I know what a front is. There's a lot of people that are not going to know what a front is.
Yeah. A front is you go to a person without any money. You say you have no money and say, you give this to me, and I'll pay you when I sell it. You know, so I got a front for a couple $1,000s, and you know, everything was fine. You know, I knew the guy, he respected me, and I respected him, and he's like, okay, we'll split whatever you make. And what I did is I sold some of it, but after that I was like, I have lots of money, I have lots of drugs, so why not go party? So I went and I partied with everything. And then
they don't like that.
Yeah, they don't like that. And I wasn't thinking, you know, I was totally into the partying thing, so I came up with money, but not enough for him, just enough for me. And he called me one day, and he's like, you got my money? And I was like, no. And he goes, well, if we see you next time, we're going to kill you. And I was like, yeah, all right.
Did you believe him?
Yeah, I believed him. Like, stuff like that, you know someone is going to do that. So I was like, okay, you know, I was high. I didn't care. You're going to kill me. But then it got serious because they called my mom, and they said, well, if we see your son again, we're going to kill him. You know, and I was like, okay, you know, that's happened. So I ran away and did all, well, actually it wasn't like running away. I just left because no one could control me. I was myself, and no one had any control over me. Just me, you know. You couldn't tell me what to do. The law couldn't tell me what to do. And they were afraid. I mean, they were afraid of what I could start or what I could do. But I wasn't proud of that, you know. I knew inside that there was something lacking in me. So this whole time, you know, it was like a Monday and all this stuff fell. And the whole time my mom was getting something together for me to go to Project Patch. But I told her I would never go. So Joe got into an accident, and he was recovering from that, and his parents needed to move. And Joe's dad came down and said, we need you, son, we need you to help, because Joe can't lift no more than 10 pounds. I said, all right, I'll get out of here. The steam will die down while I'm gone, and then I can come back and get situated, get my groove on, and get everybody paid off. So I got there to Joe's, and I was just hating it because I didn't have any drugs or anything. And I was just like, well, I'll get out of here on a Friday. So that Friday, the night came, and we packed up all the stuff, getting ready to come back to Yakima. My mom pulls up in a car, and she's like, well, I was like, Mom, what are you doing here? And she's like, well, we got something to tell you. You're going to Patch. And I was like, you tricked me to get into Idaho so I couldn't get back to where I needed to be. And she's like, it's only right. So, because that day she had gotten 3 calls
That were for killing you.
Yeah, 3 calls, one from a probation officer, one from Joe's mom, and one from my uncle who knew these people firsthand, and they had said, get Lenny out of town quick. They're coming for him today. On that Friday that I was gone, they're coming for him today.
Wow.
And my mom got me out of there, and I guess they came, but we were gone. So I'm pretty thankful to still be alive and not.
And you know, as a mom, I would think that I would just be going, no, you can't kill my son. Is there anything I could do? I would just be, I could imagine your mom being so freaked out about, you know, what do I do and how do I handle this and how do I take care of him now? And I know he doesn't even want me to take care of him now, but I love him.
But she came and I was like, Mom, I'm not going back to Patch. I have too many things I have to do. And then she looked at me and she looked into my eyes and she's like, you're going. And a mom just gives you this look like you're going, and I, like a dog, put my tail between my legs. I was in the car, no questions asked. I was like, I didn't, just okay, you know, I got into the car, and we got there. And
so what is PATCH exactly?
PATCH is like, it
stands for?
Planned Assistance for Troubled Children.
Okay.
And Tom Sanford, he is the one that runs PATCH. He had talked with my mom and stuff like that and said, yeah, we can get Lenny in there and stuff like that. So
is it like a hospital?
No. It's like a home. It's like a home away from home. Like, when I got there, I was like, wow, I've seen this place before, but I didn't recognize it because it's just the drugs and everything in my body. But I remember I was like, I've seen this place on a pamphlet. And there's like a river running through it. And wow, I was like, what a place. But at the time, I was just clouded about the whole thing. And it was pretty harsh to be there at first. I didn't want to be there. Got into a couple, like one fight. One fight was enough because I had my face split open by a kid that threw a stick at me.
Wow.
Because I just pushed him and stuff like that, and he threw a stick and it stuck in my face and it opened. I had a reconstructive surgery on my face. And I was like, oh, this place isn't for me. My mom doesn't know what she's doing. But then that time there was like so much going on that one night they sent the maintenance director to wake me up, and he's like, wake up, Lenny, wake up. And I was like, what? He goes, we're going somewhere. I was like, no, we're not. So he picked me up, he wrapped me up in a blanket, picked me up, put me over his shoulder, and threw me in a van.
No way, no way.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, what is this? And he's like, just keep your blanket, you know, just keep yourself covered. And I was just wearing boxers, so it was pretty weird. So
what did he do? What was that about?
Well, they put someone else in there, oh, you guys just go to sleep. So we woke up at Sawtooth National Park at Grand Jean Trailhead in the Sawtooth Mountains. And he's like, okay, you guys get up, put your clothes on. We're going hiking. And we're like, oh, okay, I guess, you know. And he had all our gear and stuff like that. And I guess we were just going backpacking just to get out. And he says, the hardest thing you're going to hit here is a tree. So, you know, if you want to, you go ahead and hit that tree, you know, it won't mind. Because we had just totally destroyed the dorm that we were living in and stuff like that. So we went up in the mountains, and I was hating it. I was a city kid. I was like, I'm getting out of here. I'll run away. And he's all, which direction do you think Patches, you know, which direction's home? And I pointed, like, a direction. He just started laughing. He says, go that direction. And
so you knew you were stuck.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'll go that direction. He's like, have fun. And I was like, no. But it was a real experience because I thought I was only going to be up there a week, and I stood up there 31 days. And through the whole thing, we started a 12-step program and everything. And that's where till this very day, I think that's the old Lenny. The old Lenny's still trapped looking to find Patch, you know, in that one direction. And I just stepped aside and got better. Not better, just the drugs. I got, you know, all that out of my system. And I really started focusing clearly on what I wanted for my life. And just being in the mountains, I mean, away from everything was the best place to be because there was no distractions, no phones, you know, no temptations to do something, or, you know, I was in the mountains and there was nowhere I was going, you know. I was only going into a glacier lake or something, you know.
Does any, I have 1,000 questions. Does anybody have a question about what that background, because I'm thinking of stuff like, how did you find God? Did you come back to God?
Can you ever go back to where you lived?
Ever? Well, yeah, but
like people still looking for you and stuff.
well, yeah, I believe they still are. I mean, they don't recognize me, but it's just someday someone will figure it out. But if I did go back, I'd be living at the cemetery. There isn't any other way I could ever go back. And they don't have a clue where I'm at, and it's really hard to say I'm still in hiding, but it's true. I mean, there's no way around it.
You were talking about all the money and having a good time at being 15, and coming from I've grown up in a Christian family, and so I've always thought about being in that kind of situation would be fun.
Exciting.
It is at the time you think it is.
You think about it, having $2,000 in your pocket is a big thing, to have the choices. Many times I've wished my parents weren't around, where I can do whatever I want. But just from hearing what you're saying, it's really turned me around, definitely.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell people, like, yeah, I did have that much money and stuff like that, but it didn't mean anything. The money didn't mean anything. Life didn't mean anything then, until I went to Patch. I really made a turnaround and was truthful to myself about the whole thing, because a program can change you from the outside. You can say, yeah, I'm changing, but it's really on the inside with God's help that you really get better, and that sort of turns people's heads, like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, and that's not the life for me. But I've lived that life. I know what it's like. I know what it's like to not have a place to call home. And I mean, it's just a hard thing to say, when you have family at home that loves you. I mean, even the dog, I miss my dog. I went home one time just to check on my dog because I had a nightmare that he got killed, And that's just, something that I lacked, I wanted the family. That I wanted everybody else's family because I didn't want mine because they were never home. But that wasn't their fault. They were making a living so I could stay alive. I had clothes on my back and food on the table, and I just didn't understand that. And I just am glad now that I can turn around and say, yeah, that was my life then.
Yeah.
It's not my life anymore. I mean, I am doing youth ministries and stuff like that, and I'm happy that I went through what I went through, because it was a stepping stone for me to say, I don't want to be that way. I can be a successful person and not have to sell drugs. I can help someone else, by telling someone else what I have been through in life. It might inspire someone else to turn around and just think, I have hope.
What was really interesting is not long ago I saw you talking at a Gem State camp meeting. And you were talking to a group of juniors. And I was watching you, and you looked so cool. You were reading your scripture, favorite scripture. And I thought, what a difference from Project Patch to sitting there with a group of 10, 11-year-olds talking about God. And what was it? What scripture did you read?
Jeremiah 29:11-13.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, it's God saying to his people that I have plans for you. I made you. I have plans for you to prosper and, not to be down. But it's just like what got me is the prosper. He has plans for me. And, he says, I'll be there when you call upon me, with your whole heart. He doesn't want half of it. He wants everything all at once. And I had a problem with that because I just wanted to give increments. And I was like, here, you can have this. I'll keep this. It's like trying to do a deal with God, and God doesn't work that way. God is the main guy. You don't say, I'll give you a share here and I keep the rest. He wants it all, and he'll give you those benefits back in multiples that your mind can't even fathom,
And so can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's true, is that we think he may give it back, or this is our duty to give to God. But the fact that he then makes our life so incredible, and I know for you, your life is so incredible.
Yeah, it's just, at that time, I didn't think life would be that way. And there was some struggles in there, When you give everything, it's like you gave all your security, so you feel sort of insecure about a lot of things, trusting people and things like that, because you're hollow. You're building everything back up again. And, you know, God just slowly started giving me all these things and opening up new doors. He said, I mean, I can clearly hear God say, Lenny, I have plans for you, you know. You do not know what these plans are yet, but your eyes will open to these plans, you know. And if it's not a doctor, Lenny, it's going to be something that people will know you. You know, you'll be known everywhere.
You want to be a doctor, right?
Yeah, I do want to be a doctor, but if that's not what God's telling me to do, that's okay, you know. I understand that. I just want to be somewhere where I'm happy and I'm making other people happy. You know, that's all I'm worried about.
Wow. You know, it reminds me a little bit of Karen, because you do ministry work too, okay? So it reminds me of that kind of sense of giving back to God and getting almost nourished or healed a little bit by reaching out or giving back.
Yeah, my mom always told me ever since I was little, I'm your mother here and stuff like that, but God gave you to me. You're special. There's something about you. You're a prince. And you need to find that, Lenny. You are something special to God, way special to God, that you are going to help Him help other people here. He can't be there to help everybody verbally and come in through everybody, but He can come through you, He can shine through you, and He can help you reach out to other people as long as you're willing and you leave your heart and your mind open to Him.
Do you believe that?
I do, and I'm doing it now.
You know, and the reason I say do you believe that, because I believe that with all my heart, but I think until you actually do it and see God use you in that way, you know, it's like all of a sudden when you see God use you and somebody is touched or changed or, and you think, wow, He can use me. You know what I mean? That sense of it being used by God is a powerful thing.
Yeah, I'm enjoying what's going on now, like doing all these things. I'm going to be working at a Christian radio station here really soon. And
doing what?
Being a DJ.
Hey.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice.
So is it the same place that you're working, Matt?
Yep, we're going to be working together.
Yeah, it's going to be
fun.
really nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I listened to Matt on it's KTSY, and I listen to you on there. And every time I have the radio on, and I'll hear your voice and say, oh, I know him. And it's a very cool thing.
It is. Things are going great.
So I'm going to know everybody then. I know him.
Know the whole crew.
That's right.
Yeah, it's been great. Life's been really good, and it's only looking up from here. I mean,
and you're in the choir.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? Because you just got back from Palm Springs.
Yeah, we have an award-winning choir at Gem State Academy. We entered a contest against 93 different academies in all North America, I think it was. And we got a letter back saying that we had placed in 5th place and we were in the finals and stuff like that. And that was the last our school heard from it for about a month. And then our principal, John Gatchie, got a call a couple weeks, like a month after that. And we found out that we had taken the pie. We had won a $20,000 grant.
That is amazing.
To go to Palm Springs.
And who's in the choir here? Because is it 4 of you?
Yeah, there's 4 of us here.
So it's Joe,
me, and Matt.
And Winter. And so $20,000 grant. Were you guys excited?
Yeah, it was a fun trip. It was a fun trip. We did a lot of
incredible.
It was a highlight of my senior year. So worth it.
And then you went to Palm Springs, did a show at Palm Springs. You went to the Capstone building?
We had a different trip.
Yeah.
We had a tour where we tour most of California, like Southern Cal and places like that. And when we won the grant, it was basically, take these kids to have fun. They've earned it. So we went to Knott's Berry Farm and we ate out. They gave us money every day and sponsored us to just go have fun for winning. And then we put on a performance at a resort that they had a function at, and they were all getting together, all Seventh-day Adventist people, and we just basically had fun the whole time, and they chauffeured us around.
That is so fun. Let me ask you a question. Just try to imagine anybody that knew you in your other life, if they saw you in the choir in Palm Springs, what would they think?
I don't think. Yeah, it's crazy. What is he doing? But I don't know. I think I've earned respect from them still because I was willing to get up and get out. You know, a lot of people are still afraid to get up and get out because that's the only way they know. They feel if they step out, what's after stepping out, you know? They just, like when I was doing drugs, I mean, it was like, I'm not going to be happy if I do anything else. If I used to think people that were sober were stupid, you know? You don't think beyond that, but I just like to tell people there's hope. There is hope after that.
So are you
know?
happy? Are you happy?
I'm happy. You know, there's been times where there's always going to be struggles in life, and I understand that. And, you know, I just have to keep my eyes up and just make sure that God is in control and not Satan. You know, it's just, you have to know that God leads you to places for a reason and not to shut him out, you know.
And to know that he's bigger than all your issues, bigger than all your...
And he can take them from me, you know. He's willing to take the pack full of rocks, you know. He's just ready.
I love that because he says, and then it's your sin then is as far away from me as the east is to the west. I don't even see it anymore. It's not anything. You know, and I think about like Mary Magdalene and the demoniac and different stories in the Bible where somebody was totally changed. And say, I only know you on this side of that story, and I can't even, there's nothing in me that can imagine you being anything but this incredibly talented, handsome young man that is making an influence on people's lives. So I'm amazed. I'm amazed at God. I'm amazed that God is able to, above anything we could think about or plan or even above what our parents can hope for, you know, about what your mom can hope for, that God is able to go above that and not be afraid of your gang involvement or drug involvement or any of the damage that has happened, any of the things that you've learned while you were out on the streets or on drugs. I talk to people all the time that don't believe that God is big enough to deal with their problems or that he loves me after I've been so messed up. And I love to hear stories like Lenny's because it says that God loves us no matter what, that no matter what we've done, we're not too far away for God to come in and say, please come back, and I love you, and we can fix this and we can heal this. And so I want to say thank you for joining us on Teen Pathways, and remember Jeremiah 29:11, that God has plans to prosper us and give us hope and give us a future. What an incredible story. Thank you again for joining us.